Hi, my name is Brittany J Jones. In this video, I will be showing you how to sew a flat dart into your garment. You will see darts in many different types of garments. They're not just used to add beautiful shaping to the garment, but also as design elements. When sewing a flat dart, there are a couple steps that we need to do in order to have a beautiful dart. Number one, we want to make sure that we are transferring all of our markings. Actually, that's not just with darts, that's with all things sewing. Whenever you see a marking on your pattern, go ahead and transfer that onto your fabric. I'm talking triangles, squares, circles, lines. If it's on that pattern, go ahead and transfer it onto your fabric. Number two is you want to make sure you have really nice straight dart legs, and you want to pin through both dart legs to make sure that you are going to be sewing your dart correctly. When sewing your dart, you want to start at the widest point, back stitching there, and then going down to the very tip of the dart. And when you get down to the point, we don't back stitch, we just tie a knot to secure the threads. The last thing is to press it, and you will be pressing your dart in the direction that your sewing pattern instructs you to do. Now let's go ahead and do the step by step, that way you can see how to sew a flat dart. Let's begin by transferring our dart markings onto our fabric. Now, depending on the garment that you are making, your dart may be in a different placement. You may have a bust dart, you may have a shoulder dart. It doesn't matter where your placement is, the technique to sewing it is the same. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at how we're going to transfer the markings. When transferring my dart legs and also the circles, I like to use pins first. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a pin. I'm going to put it into the size that I have cut. So for this pattern, it has 16, 18, and 20, 22, and 24. I'm going to put it right here in the 18 through 20. And I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm also going to come down here. Now, you have the option to put 2 pins in these circles as well, like so. One thing I like to do though is I like to go ahead and grab my scissors, and I like to just put little tiny notches, just like the size of these notches that we would transfer. I like to do this, and I just put a tiny snip here, just like that. That is how I like to transfer mine. But if you don't think you want to add any snips into the fabric, then you can just go ahead and place the pins into the circles. Once you have the pins placed, then we can go ahead and grab a marking tool of your choice. And we just want to go ahead and transfer the markings onto the wrong side of the fabric. So this right here is the wrong side of mine. I'm just going to lift it up, and I'm just going to put a circle right here where the pin is. Same thing over here. So you can see the circles that I've just transferred here. I'm going to go ahead and remove these 2 pins only. That way I can move my pattern down and transfer this marking here at the top. And again, I'm just going to make the same circle just right around the pin, just like so. Now that we have the circles transferred, I like to go ahead and just remove my pattern because I have my main circles transferred from my dart. Now you may be wondering, why not go ahead and place pins into the darts? For me personally, I found that when I put pins all the way through the dart, that my line doesn't come out as straight as I would like it. So with the little snips down here, and also with the marking in this dot, I can make it a lot straighter by using a ruler, and I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to take a ruler here, and I'm just going to lay it right here along my circles. And I don't know if you can see it, but my snip is also right up under the circle. So now I'm just going to transfer a straight line. That's one dart leg. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Again, matching up my circles. And I'm just going to go straight down. I find that using a ruler gives me much straighter dart legs, and that's what we're going for. I will caution you though that in some patterns, the dart legs are curved. When you see those, I would make the little dart leg dashes, and then I will also go around that with a curved ruler. Again, I really want my line to be as straight as possible. Now that we have the dart legs transferred, let's go ahead and stitch our dart in place. To sew our dart, we must first bring our dart legs together. So to do this, we're going to fold our fabric with right sides facing. So this is the right side of my fabric here. As you can see, I've placed my markings on the wrong side. So with right sides facing, I'm going to fold my fabric like so. And I'm going to grab a pin here, and I'm going to place the pin through the circle here that we transferred. And I'm going to flip the fabric over to see if my pen is going through the other circle. And as you can see, it's not. So what we need to do here is I'm going to bring my pen out a little bit and adjust my fabric so that my pen is going through this circle as well as this circle. This is how we know that we have our dart legs together. So now I'm going to go ahead and just place my pen. Now I'm going to follow along the remainder of the dart doing the same thing. Grab a pen, go through one dart leg, flip it over to see if you're coming through the other. If you need to adjust, go ahead and move it over a little bit and then secure your pen. To sew the dart, we will begin stitching up here on the widest part of the dart. We're going to backstitch here at the beginning, and then we're just going to follow right along our dart leg. And because we made sure that we have our pins going through the other leg, we're going to have a really nice and even dart. So we will sew all the way down the dart, and even down here when you feel like there's no more fabric left, stitch a little bit right along the fold, and then we will leave some long tails of thread. We will not backstitch here at the point. So let's go ahead and stitch this dart in place. Remember to backstitch here at the beginning of your stitch. Continue stitching all the way to the end of your dart. Leave long thread tails. I've used a contrasting thread so you'll be able to see my finished dart. So this is what my dart looks like here after it has been sewn. And you can see I was able to follow along the dart lines that we transferred. This is the front of it and this is the back. Here are the long thread tails that we left. We left these thread tails because instead of backstitching like we did at the beginning, we do not backstitch right down here at the point. That will create a bubble at the end of our dart, and we don't want that. So we leave the long thread tails so that we can tie a knot. So I'm just going to tie this off in a knot to secure the dart stitches. 2 knots is sufficient. Once you have it knotted, we can go ahead and cut off the excess thread. Now let's press our dart. Pressing our dart is important because number one, it's going to lay your dart nice and flat, and that's what we really want. And it's also going to blend our stitches in. So it's important not to skip pressing your dart. Now, depending on the garment that you're working on, your instructions may have you pressing it in a specific direction. So after you have it sewn, refer to your sewing direction to see exactly where they want your dart to be facing. In some cases, if you're using a mid to heavyweight fabric and you need to create a dart, you may want to trim down your dart to reduce the bulk in it so that it would be able to lay nice and flat in your garment. So I'm going to grab my scissors and we're just going to trim this dart down here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. When you do have to trim your dart because you want to reduce the bulk due to using a heavyweight fabric, you don't want to trim it all the way up here to the point of the dart. We just want to trim a little bit down here around the dart leg area, again, just to reduce the bulk so that we can press the dart open flat. So I'm just going to grab my scissors here and I'm just going to trim a little bit away. I'm going to begin trimming about 1/4 of an inch away from the dart, and I'm just going to keep that going straight up. And now I can go to the ironing board and I can press my dart open flat, pressing this flat and then pressing the point to one side, or I can press the entire dart to one side because now we've just eliminated some of the bulk. Again, you would do this when you're using some heavyweight fabric and your seam is really bulky and you just want to reduce it a little bit. That way you'll be able to have a nice flat dart. Once you have your darts sewn and you have pressed them flat, you can continue with the construction of your garment.